home with family for lockdown is one thing, but imagine if you were locked down somewhere far away from home. Olympic laser sailor Andrew Lewis is from Trinidad and Tobago, but he's been locked down in Tenerife. Now, since a freak accident in 2015, he's been on an incredible journey that shaped a lot of what he does. And since being in lockdown, he's been very creative with his fitness, and his positivity is so enlightening you'll just want to bottle it up. Here is our chat on the day he finally got back out doing what he loves.
So nice to see you. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thanks. I'm well. I'm actually great because today was our first day back of sailing. It was really nice to go out there. The wind was a bit light, but it was still really, really nice, you know.
I bet that must have just felt incredible. I know a lot of sailors I've spoken to, when I ask what's the first thing you want to do out of lockdown, you've answered that already. It's probably just to go sailing.
Yes. So we weren't sure because the rules say that professional athletes, that sports don't require like coming together in close proximity are okay to continue. So like cycling and running and sailing does fit inside there. So we did contact the police and ask them if we'll be all right and stuff. And they said yes, but you never know which policeman is going to not be happy or not, because the police was watching from the shore, but they obviously radioed back into the main office, and we were granted permission, so we were able to continue our training without any problems. So it was a bit of an interesting feeling looking over your shoulder to make sure the Coast Guard is not going to be upset. But wow, great to know that we can continue again tomorrow.
Yeah, well, congratulations. And that must be funny. You're normally looking around for wind or competitors, but looking around for police is a new one.
Yeah. The police have been pretty strong over here with their discipline of the rules.
So you're in Tenerife, but you're from Trinidad and Tobago. So give me a little overview of how you're in lockdown, but not at home.
Yes. So in January 2019, I started working with Javier Hernandez, the Spanish Olympian in the laser class from 2008 and 2012. And he started working with him as my coach, not my sparring partner. And I also joined Enrique Arathon, the Olympian from El Salvador, who was already being coached by him, as my sparring partner. And this is where their base was. He is from Tenerife, and Enrique is training here with him all that time. So I joined the base here, and since then we come here as much as possible. Of course, you know how the circuit works in the world of sailing. You follow the regattas, you try to spend time before the regattas, and ever since I joined their team, we've been coming here back and forth.
So you were obviously out here a few months ago, and was it that you didn't have an option to go home, or you just decided it was better to stay?
Good question. So there was, I believe, 4 days before the Olympics had been postponed. So it was on a Friday afternoon. The Prime Minister of my country had said on Sunday midnight, the borders of the Trinidad and Tobago will be closed. All flights, everything, no one in, no one out. So 18,000 people fled to the island from all over the world. But at that point in time, yes, I did have the opportunity to go home. But I was talking to my wife, I was talking to my coach, and we were thinking to ourselves, you know, we've never experienced something like this before, so we don't know what is going to happen. But the Olympics is still going on. So the best thing to do is to continue training here. At that point in time, we were allowed to sail. The gym was now closing, but we were starting to provide our own stuff here. So I didn't see sailing being stopped, and I didn't see the Olympics being cancelled. But of course, the Europa Cup was being cancelled. I should have seen it, but I didn't click on that one. I was so zoned in on focusing on getting ready for the games that I missed the opportunity to enter my country.
I think you're in exactly the same position as everyone. There was so much unknowing at the beginning. There's still so much unknowing now. And you just have to work with the information you've got. And you're an athlete, you know, your focus is the Olympics, and you were doing the best for that. So I think you can't have any regrets. But I've seen on social media, you haven't mucked around in lockdown, have you? You've been doing so much fitness, so much training. And that's what I'm really interested in talking to people about, how you keep that level of fitness off when A, you haven't been able to do your sport, and B, no access to gym. So I'd love to hear from you what you've been up to keep in physical peak condition.
I think yesterday was, or today is the 47th day since we haven't been able to sail. So in the 46 days, the coach and my training partner and I, we sat down and we said, all right, so, this is the reality and we don't know what is going to happen. But what we can really do is go back into pre-season style training and also really focus on things that we don't normally get much time to work on or don't prioritize as much. So much time is emphasized on going sailing, focusing on either recovery or strength and conditioning when we're not doing a lot of sailing. So we went to like a pre-season style of training. We set some different blocks up inside of here, 3 weeks on, 1 week off, 3 weeks on, 1 week off kind of thing. And in between there, we contracted a rules specialist to work with us to really understand the racing rules of sailing, because as we all know, they are bendable, and they must be understood and they must be well interpreted, and also understanding different jury styles and why one jury give a flag over another, and really understand a lot more details than we would normally understand in most cases, as well as becoming, professionals at protesting if you need to. So the whole, of course, I've always known how to protest, but really and truly being a master at it, you have a very good chance of always winning. So that was a great seminar that we did, as well as we reviewed endless footage of from world sailing stuff to different regattas to footage of ourselves, and really analyzed a lot of the top sailors, analyzed ourselves, made a lot of notes, and put things into perspective. So when we got back into the boat like we did today, we could really see things in a different perspective and really and truly, find a unique way to train moving forward so that we could grow faster, because we have more time now to the games, but we don't know when next we'll race. We don't know when next, we don't know exactly how the future is going to pan out. So go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say it's hard to maintain a focus when you don't know how that future, isn't it? Because you're always working to a goal, and at the moment that goal's moving and you're not even sure where. So it's hard on you.
Yes, it is hard on you. That is the natural feeling. But to me, like, I've been working with my different mentors and that kind of stuff. My days has been super full, almost all my days. To the simple things of this morning, I went sailing. I got home. I had a quick lunch, or a part of my lunch, and then one of my sponsors back home, I have been doing Zoom fitness with them. So the whole company is stuck at home. So everyone from their home tunes on. I do a 25 to 35 minute fitness session with them. They all have a good sweat. It's a good little recovery for me. And then I had my lunch, and then I go into I have online classes going on, and then now we're here chatting. So my days have been really full. But what my mentors have really encouraged me to do is really plan your days and your weeks well, to allow yourself, because there were some days that were really, really full of things to do for me, because I was trying to do so much, as well as, like Michael Jordan came out with this fantastic documentary, and I want to watch Michael Jordan, but I need to go to bed. So really truly planning myself and disciplining myself has been one of the biggest lessons that I've learned while being out here. Planning has been super important, because when you're at home, you just kind of say, all right, cool, you're at home, you'll do what you need to do. But there's so much time now inside, or there was so much more time inside, that you look left, you look right, and it's nighttime. What did you do, So it's really important for me to plan well.
Oh, that sounds brilliant. I agree with you. The Last Dance is incredible. I'm up to date with it. I can't wait for the next one. Just to break it down a little bit, I love the idea of the Zoom fitness, and your days are so full and so scheduled. Obviously in Tenerife, as far as I understand, you actually haven't been allowed outside until the last few days. How have you been doing aerobic and strength exercise when you've been inside with limited supplies, I presume?
Yeah, so we indoors, we have our hiking bench, I think most top sailors would have their hiking bench wherever they go, or at least in their home. So we have our hiking bench here that's always in the house. We also have a spin bike. We have a kettlebell, and we have some dumbbells, and then, as you would have seen in my Instagram post, we have a piece of bamboo that could fit about 4 5-gallon water bottles on each side. And then you use some chairs, and you put some chairs if you want to get it, be able to squat under it well, or if you're doing some bent over rows or whatever you're doing, you could do it from the ground. So we've gotten really clever. We've tied things all over our living room. You know, we use the banister to tie some hiking straps, pull bands. You use the bottom of the couch to use. Just really, really clever, as well as the Swiss ball. I really believe in juggling is a fantastic, you know, mind exercise, because it really allows you to have to focus really well. But if you get good at juggling enough, then you can start to look away, and it's in your peripherals, as well as adding the Swiss ball, so you're balancing on the Swiss ball while juggling, so it really activates the core and it brings that focus. So a lot of different drills that myself and my training partner and my coach have come up with to allow us to build on things that we may never have built on before.
That is so positive. It's brilliant. And, you know, this is like a creative sense going forward as well. It's nice when you hear positive things coming out of lockdown, and your training. I've seen pictures. Your training sounds absolutely incredible. So are you in an apartment? Are you with other people? Who are you actually living with?
I am in an apartment, and I'm living. So when I came out here, my original plan was, my sponsors were shooting like a TV series on me called Through the Eyes of Andrew Lewis Sailing. And back home in Trinidad and Tobago, the sport of sailing is not very big, but a lot of people are aware of who Andrew Lewis is and what he does, but no one really understands it too well. So we really set out to show people that how a regatta goes, what I do before I go to a regatta, what I do after, what I do in training. So my videographer slash photographer is out here with me, and we've been still creating videos, but the real objective hasn't happened yet, which is to really show Trinidad and Tobago what the sport of sailing takes to be a top athlete and to continue racing and to maintain what we do all year long. That will be shown in due course now. But so Nevon Fabian, my videographer slash cameraman, is out here with me, and Kike from El Salvador is my other roommate, and my coach lives a couple meters away from us, so he walks and comes and sees us every morning, or Monday to Friday, as we have training every day of some sort.
Brilliant. Well, it's certainly going to have a new chapter to that program when you're encouraging Trinidad and Tobago, what it's like for you. So lockdown, no one saw that coming, but I'm sure you've been able to get a lot of interesting things. Now, Andrew, just talking to you about fitness, I can't interview you and not talk about what happened to you a few years ago. I think it was December before the Rio Games. I remember seeing that short YouTube documentary not long afterwards, and I watched it again last night. You know, just staggering what you went through. So would you be able to give me just a quick summary of what happened to you? And particularly, you know, when I was watching that documentary, what I was really aware about was you got your strength and fitness back very quickly. You were sailing within a few months, but it wasn't just strength and fitness, was it? There was a whole lot of other things, mental things that were going on. And, you know, it was incredible that you got back to state of fitness that you did so quickly.
Yeah, so I call it like a freak accident, but also like a miracle in my life. You know, not a miracle that I didn't die, but a miracle because it's really taught me so much and has actually given me so much, when really and truly in the early moments of lying on a hospital bed, you feel like you've lost so much. So yeah, I came home from having dinner with my training partner, who is the Dutch Olympic sailor, Rutger van Schattenberg. And this was in December 2015, so around 8 months before the Olympic Games. And we had to climb over the wall because we forgot the house key, and I was the shorter guy. And because I was a shorter guy, he was the one who lifted me on top of the wall. And then when I was on top of the wall had like a cap. So it's just like a small little roof that rests on the wall. And you look at it and you say, oh, this thing must be solid, you know, like there's no way I'm going to go up there if it's a risk. But even up there, nothing was moving. It was all safe. But when I came, instead of jumping down, because down was like maybe like a 10-foot drop. And as an athlete, you always like, no football. I'm not gonna do anything wild before the Olympic Games. You just protect yourself where possible, you know. So instead of jumping down, I decided I'll like let half my body down the cap to my waist and then let go and then fall. And then as I was letting go, the wall followed me, or the cap of the wall followed me. And that part is not on camera. So we don't know how it hit me or what hit me or how much of it I was crushed. Like, we don't know exactly what happened below there because it's not on camera. And the fire people who were able to lift the stuff off of me and stuff, we were never able to talk to them to find out what condition they saw me in, because the fire team is the one who got inside there and lifted the stuff off of me and got me out of there. Yeah, so once the accident happened, I had gone into the hospital and spent around, I think, 15 days inside there. And I had 5 or 6 surgeries. But as I started to think about what had happened to me a week or 2 weeks later, to realize the seriousness of my accident, because when you see my face, you can't tell that my face was like crushed. You just see bruises. You can't really tell that there's that much fractures and breakages inside there. Eating is out of the question. I can't breathe properly because there's a hose in the side of my lung, draining liquid because the ribs punctured the lung. So breathing is kind of an issue. And then, of course, I have this like spike in my leg at that point in time, holding the bones together because of the broken fibula and tibia. I was thinking to myself, you know, I'll see myself eating one day again, you know, and I'll see myself talking properly one day again. And I'll see myself breathing well again, you know, and this pain in my lung will go away, you know. And then I'll see myself walking again, you know. I'll see myself there. And I was challenging myself to not ask doctors if I'll ever sail again. Fortunately, I was super fit before the accident. I was probably in the fittest I've ever been in my life. So that was a really good thing to allow my body to really build back faster, and my body started attacking the different infections and bone breakages. We got a plane home. I'm starting to learn to walk on my own, like with a walker. I'm trying really hard. Like, I see myself trying super hard. So I picked up the spin bike and I was like, well, if I put no resistance on this and I just do this will be really good for me. A month later, I was walking again, not like really well, but walking somewhat, you know, just trying to step more every day. My lung had started to really heal, but I was doing these lung exercises to inflate the lung all the time, to bring it back. And I was like, man, if I could get these things back, I could go to the Olympics, you know, I could go to the Olympics. I think I could go, you know. And my wife was just like, this guy is crazy, you know, like, he's super ambitious. But I was like, I'm going to walk again. I'm going to run again fast. I'm going to get this back. And I went physio every day. My trainer would come to my house on a Saturday and a Sunday. We continued working, and we just worked and worked and worked. And of course, the Olympic Games were a nice goal to get to, you know. And then I called the team up and I said, all right, tell everybody we're going sailing. And then they called all the news team and my family and everybody, and it was a really nice day getting to go sailing. It was light wind again, which was perfect. But that was a special day. And as soon as I did my first tack, I was like, all right, we'll be back. We'll be back for the Olympics. We'll be back. We can do this. I fought all the way to the end, and I completed. And I said that, you know, I was like 21 years old in my first Olympics in London, and super small. And then I was broken for my 2016 Olympics. I'm like, I need a chance to perform at the Olympic Games, you know? So right out of Rio, I was like, we're going to go to Tokyo. We're going to go.
I mean, it's just the most incredible story, and thank you for sharing it. And it's petrifying how quickly, in a split second, your life can change. And it's just amazing throughout that story. I'm just, you know, everything's so positive as you're saying it. And, you know, you were never sort of pushing yourself too hard, but bit by bit. And then you eventually thought, hey, I think I can get back to the Olympics. So incredible mental strength. And when you were talking then, you went to London and you went to Rio, and this happened, you know, 8 months before the Olympics. Now, I can't really draw too many parallels between lockdown, coronavirus, and what happened to you. But it's still disruption for you before the Olympics. So have you been able to draw anything from that experience to keep positive and keep going? You must back yourself very much of what you have achieved and what you've come from. So is that sort of in your armor, as it were, as we're going through these times of uncertainty now?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think this armor has started there. You know, a lot of people don't know that my real dream was to go to the 2008 Olympics, and I just missed by 2 points, or two or 3 points in Australian Terrigal, and I quit. I said I'll never sail again, and I gave up one time there, you know. And a year later, this burning desire came back, and I was like, don't give up on yourself, you know. And then going back, and I was not a good student in school, so school was really tough. Like a lot of moments in my life that had me build this resilience, you know. And what the accident would compare to quarantine is, you know, that set a plan that's achievable and execute every day. You know, a lot of times I want to set a plan that's not achievable, it's not realistic, and to come back down to reality and realize that I'm not a robot. Nobody's a robot. We're all human beings, and understand that Andrew Lewis could only achieve so much. All right. And if you make a list of 20 things, know that you're probably not going to finish all 20. And if you do set a list of 20 things, try your best. But if you don't, forgive yourself and understand that you're a human being. You continue tomorrow. And a lot of times, like I want to come down on myself, you know, for not being like perfect, you know. Why not winning races, Andrew? Why not achieving everything you said, Andrew? And these are the times where I fight myself a little bit in quarantine, or vice versa on land or on sailing. But I got to remind myself, and I believe we all need to remind ourselves that, you know, it's some people may need to take a week of doing nothing. I mean, in some cases, if somebody goes, I don't want to compare it like that, but if somebody goes to rehab for 3 months, you're not going to call them, hey, let's hang out. Hey, why you not at dinner? No, you let them be. You let them be, you know. So in some cases, it's all right to take a week of maybe doing nothing, or maybe doing something that's a lot less than normal, to make sure your mental health is well, and your body is well, and you're in a good state of mind, because you got to be in a good state of mind to live at your full potential. And I think that's what everything has continued to teach me.
Wow, yeah, it's wonderful about being kind to yourself. I find that people can be very kind to other people, but not to themselves.
Exactly.
What I find really interesting as well is when I was preparing for this interview, and I've been preparing for all of them, speaking to everyone, I've been really focused on, what's life in lockdown at home? What DIY have you been doing? Have you been doing any hobbies? But it's kind of a bit absent for you, because, a lot of people, when you're talking about people putting pressure on themselves, they're like, well, I need to do this to the garden, I need to do this to the house and that. But that hasn't been there for you. So what sort of, been motivating you aside from sailing and fitness and, that's that side of things? Because it's not like you can start, building things in your apartment.
Yeah. I've been doing a little bit of studying in Ayurveda, and understanding the 3 principles, the mind, body, and soul and whatnot. Understanding that what you put into your body is really important, that, what the Western world sells you in food and drink versus what really and truly is good food and drink, So I went vegetarian like 2.5 years ago. And I've been really trying to transfer into more vegan, but not necessarily vegan, just much more less chemically based foods, much more of understanding where did this product come from and how was it made? In some cases, like I would still have cheese. I enjoy some cheese, but is this cheese from really crappy cow, or is this cheese from, good organic milk from a cow that's eating, plants and not being fed bad stuff, So I've really been trying to study on what I put in my body, because if you're trying to live at your full potential, you need good fuel. So I've been really experimenting my cooking a lot and understanding so many basic things that, in Ayurveda, they tell you that you don't drink anything cold. You don't put cold beverages into your system, because your body now has to fight to cool it down. So why are you making your body fight? Inside of your body is warm. Your body wants to keep that temperature, especially if you're in the climates that you don't actually need to really help the body cool down. And if you need to help the body cool down, you want to more cool it from the outside, like a cold shower or an ice bath versus a cold drink. So a cold drink is like last resort if possible, because your body's gonna fight inside and you're gonna create stress on your organs and stress on your body. So understanding what makes a lot of sense to me, like why you would put something that's much healthier versus something that was built with chemicals into your body, makes complete sense. But a lot of the things are really like eye openers to me at 30 years old. So many people don't understand that, one of the biggest bacteria in your body comes from the back of your tongue. If you don't scrape your tongue every morning, you're just swallowing bacteria all day. And these are the things that the Ayurveda, principles teach you to really, really understand that you need to put good stuff into your body, and you need to put not only into your mouth and not onto your skin necessarily, but into your mind and, into your soul. You need to put good stuff all the time. And that really will help you, once again, live to your maximum potential.
Oh, that is fascinating. I've learned so much, and it's great. The more I hear you talk, it's fitness, it's health, and in this time in quarantine, as much as you haven't been at home doing all the DIY like everyone, a lot of people have, you've been sort of doing DIY on yourself, working out how to be better. So, so is that what you'd sort of summarize your time in lockdown, just working on yourself?
Yeah, and also if one of the big projects I've been working on is Airbnb has something called the Airbnb online experiences, and Airbnb is now the official housing sponsor of the International Olympic Committee. So Airbnb has reached out to some Olympic athletes around the world, and they've reached out to me to be one of these Airbnb online hosts. And they asked me, what would you like to host if you were hosting a seminar or an experience is the right term. And I said, coming from Trinidad and Tobago, where sailing is not a very popular sport, there's no, in some countries, there's a pathway to the Olympic Games. They tell you, all right, you need to go to this event to qualify for this sport or this class, and you need to do this, and this is the amount of money you need, and this is the coach that required, and here's this guy, and talk to that girl. There's nothing like that where I come from. It doesn't exist. So in 2008, for my first Olympic quad, where I was trying to make it to the Beijing Olympics, I created like a 40-page document, which is the pathway to the Olympic Games for Trinidad and Tobago. And every quad, I update my pathway to the Olympic Games. This does not exist in the Caribbean, in my opinion. So I decided to say, well, what can I offer as an Airbnb experience that I really could connect to? Because you could do fitness with them. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do fitness with people. That's not my thing. I'm not going to cook with people. That's not my thing. What can I do? And I was like, there's so many athletes that reach out to me all the time. How do you get so much sponsors? How do you turn yourself into a brand? So I was like, I like this. I like teaching people this. So my online experience coming this week will be live, is brand building with Andrew Lewis Sailing. So I'm really excited. That took me some work, to really get my whole presentation right. And I have a 10-step brand building process. And I'm looking forward to seeing, who around the world I would meet and what sports, and really to help. Because the same reason you have a coach for sailing is the same reason you have a teacher for school, for math, science. You can't just be like, oh, I know how to do math. Oh, I know how to. It doesn't arrive like that. It's the same way. You can't just know how to build a brand unless you do your research and have teachers or YouTube, whatever it is, to learn. But you can spend all these years trying to figure it out like I did, or you can spend time with me and I can help you with a much shorter process in theory of, taking something like I'm dyslexic, for example. But by me coming and telling the public that I'm dyslexic, I'm now the brand ambassador for dyslexia in my country. And I host seminars for people across the country and people who cannot afford dyslexic classes. We help them and all kinds of stuff. So taking what I call the shift in perspective and really saying, well, to you having dyslexia might be, you might think bad about yourself. But for me, I came out and it's really a gift, because I now can do all of this. So my brand building course, I really look forward to sharing it with the world, because Airbnb is so worldwide, to really and truly not only is, because my story is inside there, not only to inspire athletes and inspire whoever comes on, but to really and truly help them speed up this process of what they're really trying to achieve.
I think that's absolutely brilliant. I mean, you've been so busy. And also going back to the beginning of our conversation, you said, I didn't do very well at school. Well, it turns out you've done really well in life.
I'm trying hard. You know, I love life. I think life is the opportunity. Well, as I say, once your heart is alive, you know, the fight is alive, you know, and I believe life is a gift. And a lot of people play with that gift in a way, you know, and I can't, for me, it's hard to see people with so much talent and so much gift just sit down there and not use it, because a lot of time people set out for these big goals, you know, like I want to go to the Olympics, for example, and they don't achieve it. Some of them may never achieve it, but what they have learned in getting to that process, that's what life is about. I set my goal to go to the London Olympics. All right, cool. Then I set my goal to win a gold medal in Rio. I don't have that gold medal yet, but it's not that I'm depressed or sad about it. I'm more inspired by it to try again, you know, and that's what for me is, I've been able to always say, as I say, if you take the word nowhere, inside the word nowhere says now here. It's the same word. You put the letters together, it says nowhere or now here. So I when you put it in no and you separate it, and I'm like, okay, cool. Well, you feel like you're nowhere. So many people do. Just bring that W across, and you're now here. And this is reality. You're now here, and let's shift the perspective and let's continue going. You know. But don't get me wrong. You know, the reality is that, of course, you have your moments when you're sad, and of course you get down, and of course you want to achieve so much more. But it's like an athlete. It's how fast you can recover. Is how far is it fitter you are. You know, so how fast you could change that maybe downward spiral into a back upward spiral. You know, and how fast could that moment pass in your life? I think is like an emotional endurance is what I would call it. Is how strong emotionally are you with your endurance, you know? So, yeah, I mean, yes, I've been doing a lot. Don't get me wrong, I miss my wife, I miss my family a lot, and I've never been put in this position to say I don't know when next I'll see them, because, of course, we're getting really close to quarantine ending, but planes are stopping around the world, and it's just a really weird situation. But I look forward to returning home as soon as possible, because you know, family and your loved ones really play a really big part in my life.
I'm sure that's very difficult, and I know that we're all suddenly connecting virtually. It's brilliant that we can talk to everyone around the world, but I'm sure it's really difficult. It's not the same for family. But such an inspirational talk. Thank you, and I will remember that forever. That nowhere and now here. That's brilliant, and also I'm going to remember it in your cool accent as well. So that's going to remind me.
That's good. I'll definitely remind you.
Yeah, exactly. Now, just one last thing. Talk to me about your shirt you're wearing. You know, you're in a white room and I've seen this red top the whole time.
Yeah, I like my team Liverpool, you know. Also, I love the slogan, you know, you'll never walk alone. That's one of the things that has always connected me. Like I like Liverpool and I connected to Liverpool well. But then I learned this slogan many years ago, you'll never walk alone. And that is one of the most important things that resonates in my life for everything I do, because my team around me is huge. You know, if someone ever says to me, I'm self-made or they are self-made, I say it doesn't exist. You're put there by two people. When there's two, there's no self. So like having that connection to the slogan of the team and being able to go there and visit the team once before, and I will return again. I like football a lot too. You know, it's a really art of a game, and that was my first sport, to be honest. And naturally, you'll be attached to a team as a fan in theory if you like a sport. So, yeah, that's my team. Who like it, and who doesn't like it, that's not my problem. I like it.
Oh, no, absolutely. I recognised it straight away. My husband, who's also a sailor, he has supported Liverpool all his life. And in fact, when we got married, we walked out of the church to You'll Never Walk Alone.
Send my regards to him. That's fantastic. That is fantastic.
Oh, I'll let him know. But this was such a lovely chat. I'm so glad you. I know you're really busy. So I'm so glad you were able to spare some time and have a chat. And I've been absolutely fascinated by hearing about your last few years' experience, and also how you've been going through lockdown, and really, really inspirational stuff. So thank you.
No, it's a pleasure. When I saw your show, I said to myself, this seems like it's going to be worth my time, and your platform looks like it means well, and I'm in support of people who mean well and want to do good stuff. So thank you for having me, and keep up the good stuff, and all the best to you. And I hope one day we meet in person so we can share that experience in person one day.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. Well, I really hope to, and I'm booked to go to the Olympics as well as one of the hosts. So hopefully, when it happens, I'll come and find you in the boat park and say a proper hello.
Awesome! Thank you very much, and you have a blessed day.